Hi, and welcome to the second video in the SEO Made Simple series. In this video, we're going to be talking all about keywords, what they are, where to find them, and how to use them. Before we dive in, if we haven't met yet, my name is Meg. I'm a yoga meditation teacher turned Squarespace web designer and the founder of Floating Lotus Design. And I'm here to help you elevate your business and your website without the tech overwhelm. If you're enjoying this series and finding it helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos in the series. Okay, so any good SEO strategy is going to be dependent on what? Keywords. So what are keywords? Keywords are those specific words or phrases that people use that they type in online when they're searching for information about products or services that they're needing. They're very important to your SEO strategy because they are what helps search engines understand the content on your website and allowing it to match up with those search queries that people are typing in. This helps improve your site's availability in those search results. So your SERP, search engine results page, where you show up on. Are you showing up in that first scroll, or are people going to scroll and scroll and scroll or go to page to page to page before they find your content? Better your keyword strategy and optimization, the better your chances of being served higher in those rankings. So you're going to use keywords strategically. They need to be used and placed in your content throughout your website, your blog posts, and as we talked about in the last video, on-page SEO and in your off-page SEO. So thinking about making sure that your keywords are used in your meta descriptions, the image alt text that you use, your URLs, your page titles, the actual copy on your website, structured within your blog posts. And you want to make sure that they're varied. You don't want to use one word over and over again. You want to use variations. Now, again, in the next video, we'll be going over how and where to do this within your content more specifically. But let's back up a little bit and talk about what are the different types of keywords and how you should use them. So basically, when we're talking about keywords, we're looking at short tail and long tail keywords. The short tail keywords are those that really are just 1 to 2 words, and they're generally going to be your higher volume and probably higher competition keywords. So thinking about SEO as a keyword, or I'm a Squarespace web designer, so for me, if I just wanted to rank for Squarespace, that's a very short tail keyword, and there's going to be a lot more volume of people searching for that and a lot more competition to rank high for those keywords. Now, your long tail keywords, those are going to be more specific and longer phrases, think 3 or more words, that people are using to search online. They are much more detailed and they target a narrow audience. So the more focused your long tail keywords can be and more relevant to your services or your products, you're going to often have a higher relevance and a potentially better ranking for your website in the search results for those keywords. So these are going to be more lower volume and lower competition than your short tail keywords. Another type of keyword you need to keep in mind is related keywords. So it's possible that you can rank for keywords even if you haven't used them specifically in your content. So for example, in a previous video, when we talked about local SEO, I mentioned having a yoga studio in Brookline, Cambridge, and Boston. But you could also rank for fitness studio in Boston or Brookline or Cambridge, even if you don't have fitness studio as a part of your keyword strategy. So why is this? These are the ways that as the search engines learn and understand your content and the keywords that you're using, they figure out what's related. So if somebody types in something that's similar, even if it's not exact, they're going to say, well, a yoga studio in Boston is related to a fitness studio in Boston, so we're going to serve up this person's website in the results as well. So you don't necessarily have to be thinking too much about what related keywords you can rank for, but it's a good thing to take note of when you're doing research and being aware of the fact that it is possible to rank for keywords that you didn't specifically use. So keep it in mind. Some of the tools you'll see get search results for your keywords will also give you related keywords or related searches, and that will give you some insight as to different variations of keywords that you can use, but also those types of connected keywords, those related keywords you might also be able to rank for as well. So the next thing you have to do when it comes to keywords is research. It's not enough to say, well, I've picked this keyword or this phrase and I'm just going to run with it and create content and see what happens. You do need to spend some time doing some keyword research so that you can narrow down the sets of keywords you want to target. You want to figure out the proper level of volume and competition that you want to target to increase your chances of being served higher in the rankings. So there's a strategy, there's some work that has to go into it. So how do you do the research? My recommendation, and again, I'm not an SEO expert. I'm here to share you the things that I've learned or that I wish I had known when I was starting out in my SEO journey without a clue several years ago. So my recommendation as a non-expert, but as a multiple online business owner, is to start small and build from. And while sometimes that seems hard because we are not patient and we want quick results, it takes time to kind of figure these things out. The keywords that you target, they may change over time. Your business may need to adjust a little bit. So don't try and do it all at once. Figure out some specific keywords, start small and build from there. Start with those lower volume or lower competition keywords wherever you can find them and create content and build from there. But first you need to know, where do I do the research? Well, search bars are a great place to start. So head on over to Google and type in some of the things that you're looking for, just like you were doing any other kind of Google search for information you're looking for. Type in the keywords or the titles that you're thinking of for your content and see what pops up. You'll get that kind of auto-populate right off the bat, which will give you some different variations of things that you can look at. Another great source is called Ask the Public. Ask the Public is a free source that you can go out to, and you can type in a question or, let's see. So like, what type of yoga classes are really popular in 2023? And it will give you a ton of different information, variations on the types of questions and searches people are doing. And that can help you kind of narrow down and focus on maybe the topics or the content you want to address. You can also look for keywords using AI tools, but be careful here. Using AI, things like ChatGPT and others, is a great way to get some ideas, some suggestions for keywords that you can target. So you could, for example, type in a prompt into an AI server that says, give me 5 long tail, high volume, low competition keywords for the most popular style of yoga classes in 2023. And it will very quickly spit you out some results. Don't just take those and run with those. You're going to want to take them and then go to actual research tools, which we're going to get into next, and verify that they are what you're looking for. You can't just trust that what the AI gives you is 100% accurate. Keyword volumes and competitions and things like that, they change over time, and you may or may not be getting the latest and greatest data out of the AI tool that you're using. So always verify against another tool before you narrow down and solidify which keywords you're going to be using. So now that you have an idea of what keywords you want to be looking for, well, what tools can help you in that research process? What tools can give you the type of information like how many searches are coming in per month, the volume, how competitive are they? What are other variations of this keyword? What other things are people researching for related to this keyword? There's a lot of tools out there. Some of the most popular are Ubersuggest, Keywords Everywhere, Moz, Ahrefs, SEMrush, and on and on and on. Those are some of the major players in this space. Most of these will all have some version of a free plan or a free trial that you can use to get a sense of how they each work and decide which one you like best. And then, of course, they also have paid versions as well. Now, generally speaking, to get the most detail and most data out of them, you're probably going to want to go with some type of paid plan in order to get the most information. Generally, on free plans, you are going to get very limited information. You may not be able to get the volume or the competition metrics from them. You may be limited in how many searches you can do in a time period or how many keywords you can research. So there may be some limits on what you can get on a free plan. Now, in terms of cost, Ubersuggest has a free plan. It does limit you on the number of searches. Keywords Everywhere has a free plan that's quite good. But when you start getting into the paid versions, Ubersuggest has about starts at $29 a month. Things like Moz, Ahrefs, and SEMrush are starting in the $99 to $129 a month to start. And those tools are very robust and give you a lot of data and a lot of information. And my recommendation is if you are new to the SEO journey and the SEO researching, it can be quite easy to get overwhelmed by that amount of data, especially if you're not understanding all of the intricacies. So I would recommend starting out with something like an Ubersuggest or Keywords Everywhere. They give you great information. It's easy to understand and easy to take action on. And from a pricing perspective, they're much more reasonable when you go to a pricing. My personal preference and my choice, and I'm not an affiliate, it's just the one that I have enjoyed the most, is Keywords Everywhere. They have a slightly different model in terms of you buy credits. And I can honestly say that it's been well worthwhile. I think I spend around $10 to $15 a year. And I think I get about 100,000 credits or something for something like that. Needless to say, I haven't even come close to where, using up all my credits in a year. So it's incredibly a budget-friendly tool. It has a lot of great information that you can use. And, the credits are only good for a year, but $10 to $15 a year versus $30 a month or $100 a month, I highly recommend that as a great place to start. Also, if you are in the Squarespace arena for your website and you haven't checked out SEOSpace's plugin for SEO for Squarespace, highly recommend you check that out. I'll link the video I did up above for the review and the demo I gave of that. But if you are using that plugin to scan your website and your blog posts to see how they're doing for SEO and giving you action items to take, if you are plugging in your keywords there, they will also serve up suggestions for other keywords that you could be using. So if you're already using that plugin, make sure to take advantage of that as well. Now, I'd be remiss to not mention how to do keywords for YouTube. You can get that out of Keywords Everywhere and some other ones, but if you're really investing in YouTube as part of your marketing strategy, I highly recommend vidIQ and TubeBuddy as places that you can get more specific information and research related to keywords that will be beneficial for YouTube. And finally, you can hire an expert. If this just is too much or you don't have the time, you can always hire an SEO expert to help you with your keyword research and even creating content for you. Now, hiring an expert is not cheap. It is an investment. But if it's in your budget, it can be a very worthwhile investment. So now that I've kind of given you a quick overview of the different tools that are out there and their costs, I'll show you an example of how results will pop up for both Ubersuggest and Keywords Everywhere when you do a Google search. So you can kind of get a sense of what you'll see. Okay, so here's an example of what kind of results you'll get if you're using Ubersuggest or Keywords Everywhere. And in this example, I'm using Ubersuggest on their free plan, and Keywords Everywhere, I have a paid plan. So keeping in context with what we're talking about, I typed in what is SEO as my keywords. And you'll see right here below, and this is from Keywords Everywhere, I immediately get a volume and competition data as well as some trending information. So if you hover over that, it kind of gives you what the monthly searches are over the last 12 months on a monthly basis. So that's really interesting information to have, because knowing sometimes the trends of the keywords you're looking for, are they on an upswing and you might want to target them, or are they on a downswing and are they maybe not as relevant anymore? That's helpful information. So both Oversuggest and Keywords Everywhere, I have a Chrome extension for. This is the K for Keywords Everywhere and a big U for Oversuggest. Now, pro tip here, if you are using either one of these, and may apply to some of the other tools as well, but if you are on a free plan or a paid plan or something where you are limited in the number of credits you have or the number of searches that you can do on these plans, make sure that you disable these when you're not using them. So you don't want your everyday searches that you're doing to count against your plan. So make sure that you only enable or turn these on when you're doing your keyword research for your business. All right, so moving back onto the results. So for this first box here, these first two boxes are from Keywords Everywhere, and you get some great information here. For the long tail keyword, what is SEO? So they're giving me an overall SEO difficulty score. And what I love here is we talked about on page and off page. They give you a difficulty score for each of those separately. And that can be super helpful if you are really thinking about targeting a keyword in one or the other. You can also get a detailed breakdown and how these metrics are calculated. So a lot of great information right off the bat. Then as we move down, they're giving you a trend for what is SEO on a global level. So this is the last 3 months. We can look at it for last year, all time. So obviously, SEO has become more and more important over the years. No surprise. But you can take all this information and copy it over somewhere or export this data so you can take it with you. Below here, I have some of the Oversuggest information. Now, Oversuggest has this pop-up here where I can disable or enable it right from my search window in case I forgot to do it up here. But Oversuggest also gives you the people also search for. So you can get, here's our keyword, the volume, the search difficulty. This is called cost per click. This can kind of give you an indication of how much people are paying for ads to place or to rank for these keywords. So the higher they are, probably the more competitive they are. So you get these different, what is SEO for Google? What is SEO YouTube? So you get all of these different related keywords. See, I'm on the free plan, so I can't get suggestions or questions or prepositions. So this is where kind of going like ask the public is that type of thing that you get. But I don't have a pay plan, so I can't get that information from this widget. So I can just get related keywords. So something to keep in mind. And you have pages of them. They'll give you some SEO metrics. So showing the overall traffic, position, backlink information. And then back down here, we get some more from Keywords Everywhere. And again, Keywords Everywhere is the one I tend to go to the most because I think I get the best information. It's easiest for me to understand. So we get trending keywords. So we'll show you the volume, the competition score. You can get information on how these are trending. The same with related keywords. So a lot of different options there. So you have these things I already mentioned before, SEO course. It's pretty broad. You get these really high volumes, but what is SEO in English? It's only 30. So you get a lot of variation. And then here, people also search for, and they give you a long list of all the different things people might be searching for as it relates to SEO, and you can look into each one of those individually. And what I like here is that you can load the metrics for each of these, and it just tells you that it's going to use some of the credits against your plan. So you're aware before you click if it's going to go against your credit plan. So tons of information very quickly. And finally, they give me some more long tail keywords. So you might be looking at what is SEO optimization? How are the trends on these? Are they steady? Are they going up? Are they going down? What is SEO in YouTube? Bit of an uptick. But you can really quickly get some great information that you can copy or export and use as a part of your strategy right from your window. So that's it. Just a nutshell for an example of what you will get using these tools. Of course, as always, don't want to forget here that just within Google itself and using the search bar, you'll get related search information, but you'll also get data. You can see from the U, this is from Oversuggest, you'll get some basic information on the volumes for those related searches as well. So hopefully you found that quick overview helpful just to see a basic idea of the type of information you get. Of course, if you're looking for more but not yet ready to hire an expert, you can also take some online courses. There's a lot of great service providers out there that are SEO experts that provide some really great courses that can help you learn even more. So down below, I will list out all the tools I mentioned today, some of the resources for courses and continuing education that I recommend. And also some of those folks also can be hired as experts. None of those are affiliate links. They're just the resources that I think highly of and would recommend myself. Okay, so what's coming up next in our series? In the next video, we're going to be going over how to optimize your content for SEO. So how to structure your website pages and blog posts, the things like meta descriptions and URL structures and all that stuff that we kind of briefly touched on in the first video. I'm going to get a little bit more involved on that, and I'll explain to you more what that means so you'll understand that as we move forward. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.